rule of law. This stubbornness, warmongering, and defiant nature of the regime in Ethiopia has not been able to bring up its people out of misery and suffering. The Eritrean and Ethiopian people deserve peace and prosperity. To achieve this, the regime in Ethiopia must be pressured by the guarantors and the international community to respect the rule of law so that the border could be demarcated immediately. Eritrean sovereign territories would not remain under the occupation of the regime in Ethiopia forever. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Desta. He has agreed to take questions. So, students.
Student.
Okay, then I'll go by the first hand. Over here.
The borders, they seem somewhat contradictory. What is the border protection, what is the UN doing at the border that your country feels is wrong?
That's a very good question, which refers to UN peacekeeping force. We have about 20 places where we are seeing peacekeeping force. In some places, frankly speaking, they have succeeded, but in some places they have been there for more than 30 years, like Cyprus, for example. More than 30 years they will not. What's the problem? A lot of money is being wasted. When the United Nations mission to Eritrea and Ethiopia was decided, 4,200 peacekeeping force was sent there, with the understanding that after the verdict of the EEBC, it will take about 8 months to demarcate, and then these people will be living. That is what we had in our minds. But since Ethiopia refused to accept the final and binding decision, which she had accepted first and then rejected, and then again to say, I have accepted it in principle. I don't know what in principle means. Maybe you could help me. I don't understand in principle. And therefore, the demarcation cannot be implemented. It is 4.5 years since the verdict has been given. And these people have been dead. Doing what? Nothing. In this area where the peacekeeping force is staying now, is 25,000 square kilometers of our land. We cannot get in there. I mean, we have an army which is at the same time a workforce of the country. And therefore, in the other parts of Eritrea, what we do is for any development work, we send these soldiers to do the job, whether it's building schools, building clinics, building houses, building construction, roads, bridges, and so on, even agriculture. But to this place, we could not send our work, and therefore we are standing. Those people, the Eritreans who are staying there, are close to 1 million. And we have about 60,000 Eritreans who have been displaced from their villages because of the war. And they are really psychologically in poor conditions. And therefore, I don't see this wastage of time and waste of money as far as I am concerned. And therefore, what we are asking the UN Security Council is, let them raise their hand over Ethiopia. Raise a stick to accept the final and binding decision, so that demarcation can be done. And then Eritrea and Ethiopia will have peace. So this is what we have, if I have answered the question.
I was wondering, is there still fighting along the border? And the people who have been displaced, is still in Eritrea, or have they gone to another country?
Frankly speaking, what we have at this right time is no peace, no war in the region. We are not fighting for the last 4 years and for the last 6 years now, since 2000. But the Ethiopians have their soldiers on the other border, and we have our soldiers on the other border. So still looking at each other. If something happens, it can go. As far as the other question you asked is the displaced people. They are in the temporary security zone, so-called temporary security zone, which I was saying before. It is about 25,000 square kilometers. It was 1,000 by 25. And this is in Eritrea, 1/5 of our land, and 1/3 of our population. And therefore, these people are around 60,000 of them. They have been displaced from their villages, in particular the villages near the border. They cannot go back because at times some militia of Ethiopia come to that area, they loot, they rape, they kill, everything. So they cannot go back. And at the same time, there were some mines planted over there. So until that is totally cleared and other solution comes, they are still in makeshift camps. Some of them now we are trying to resettle them again, not in their villages, but nearby their villages. And it costs a lot of money. What is the solution, the best solution? The best solution is to demarcate the border. And to demarcate the border, it is in the hands of the UN Security Council. Thank you.
We have a question in the back.
Yeah.
I would like to know what role the African Union has played in this issue between Eritrea and Ethiopia.
They were the first ones who tried to mediate the issue. To some extent, they managed it as the first time. But after that, the issue has been taken to the United Nations after the verdict has been given, and there is nothing that they can do. That's what I can say.
Question from Professor Pennick.
Eritrea has been certainly one of inspiration and human spirit.
Thank you.
But with all of the threats that you've explained and the difficulties that you're surrounded with and the history of the continent, it seems that the hill to survival and longevity is very, very steep. How confident are you that Eritrea will have a long, prosperous future? And what is the basis of that confidence?
Thank you. When the British were in Eritrea, they had a plan to divide Eritrea into two. There was a philosophy or a concept saying that Eritrea cannot support itself economically. And so what they decided was to cut the southern part, the lowland areas of Eritrea to Sudan, and then the remaining part to give it to Ethiopia. This was purely unacceptable, incorrect, because first of all, we have 1,200 kilometers of coastline, which is very rich in fish. There is a possibility to harvest 80,000 metric tons of fish per year. If we sell 25,000 of that, we can feed the whole people. We are only 4 million. Secondly, Eritrea is very rich in agriculture. The Italians, when they were there, they were exporting fruits